Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to our fourth lesson, class 5. And today's lesson, we're going to continue from where we left the last lesson about the pledges of Aqaba. If we can just remind ourselves that we said that the pledges of Aqaba, it was between the Prophet Muhammad and the people of Medina. And the two tribes that came to Makkah to see the Prophet Muhammad these were the Khazraj and the Aus tribes. And we go further and say that after discussing with the Prophet Muhammad, they agreed with some agreement. Then we said that the first pledges of Aqaba, we can also call them the covenants. So these are the agreements. So when they discussed with the Prophet Muhammad, they made some agreement there. Now, after the agreement, it's when now other things happen. Now we are going to look on the agreement of the Aqaba. We say that they are also known as the promises. So after discussing with the Prophet Muhammad, the people of Medina, these were including the people of the Khazraj and the Aus, they end up agreeing with the Prophet Muhammad in the following agreement. Now one, they agreed that they said that we shall worship one God. So after discussing with the Prophet Muhammad, they came into the conclusion that they are going to worship one God. Meaning, before that, they were worshiping more than one God. So in short, we can say they were not believing about one God, that is Allah. Now the second point, they say that we shall not go near stealing or adultery. They say that they shall not go near, not just they will not steal, but even approaching to a place whereby maybe they are stealing, it is going on. So they are not going to go near to stealing or adultery, that is zina. They will not approach that. So that is a way that these people, they end up agreeing with the Prophet Muhammad what they should not do. They also say we shall not kill our daughters. I think we have said earlier that during the times of the Prophet Muhammad, those days, people or the Quraysh and the non-believers, they were not believing about the children or the girls. They were believing that girls are weak people. So in a family, if you have 10 girls, 5 girls, 6 girls, you are having a weak family. That is their belief. So they believe that if you could have more boys, 10 boys or 5 boys, you have people that they can protect the family. And this is their belief. So they were not believing about having girls that are also protecting in their family. And we see that in a family to continue, the girls must be there so that the family can continue. But if the boys will be in a family only, so the continuation of that family may not be there, because a boy cannot work alone. So therefore we say that the Quraysh believe that having a girl child, it is as if you are cast. So they believe more to have boys than girls. That's why they promised that the Prophet Muhammad, they are not going to kill their daughters, meaning they are killing their daughters before. The next point, they agreed with the Prophet Muhammad in that agreement. They say that we shall not backbite. Remember, according to the Prophet Muhammad's hadith, that backbite is another sin which is worse. And also in the Quran, in Surah Al-Humazah, Allah also cursed for the people who backbite. He said, you who backbite, those people who spoke badly about other people in their absence. So meaning that during the day of judgment, these people are going to be punished because of speaking bad things when the person is not there. So meaning, if the person could be there, you are not going to speak what this we are talking about. So it is very bad for anybody to backbite. So for you now, you should not be practicing backbiting any the time, because you end up falling in this part of the group that are going to be punished during the day of judgment. And another history is that during the times of the Prophet Muhammad, there are people before they speak, they could be able to think. Some of the Sahabas, they end up putting some stones on below their tongue so that they can be able to know before they speak. They have to understand, what am I talking? Or what I'm talking, is it good to others? Or is it going to harm others? So backbiting is worse. Because when you compare backbiting and other things, backbiting brings sort of chaos or quarrel and misunderstanding between the families or friends. So this one breaks many communities or many families or friends. That is backbiting, which is bad. Another point is that they say we shall not speak badly of anyone. So we have that this is not backbiting. You are speaking badly of anyone, the person who is not there, but here the bad thing that you are talking to that person who is there or who is not there. The bad of that person, you have to tell him. So we shall not speak badly of anyone. You have to talk good over somebody. If that person is bad, then can you discuss with him not to speak only the bad things with the person? Even the person that has bad things also has good things. So you should not be always speak the bad things of a person, but also the good things that the person is doing, you have to speak about it. And also, they end up saying that we shall obey the prophet in everything. So they take the prophet as their leader. And that's why they say that we shall obey the prophet in everything. So it is like you are now here, you are obeying the teacher in everything because your teacher is your guide. Is the person who guides you in school, is the person who guides you in any way. Even the life after school is also giving you direction. So it is your duty, it is your responsibility to guide, to obey your teacher, to respect your teacher. So here we are told that the people of the Medina, they promised and they agreed with the prophet that they are going to obey him in anything that the prophet is going to tell them. So it is you now to copy the behaviors of the people of Medina, what they trusted the prophet, and you have to trust your teacher. Then we say that are these promises that were made, those promises made were later called the first pledges of Aqaba. I think in the first line, in our first discussion, we mentioned and we said that the first promises that they made, the first pledges of Aqaba, it was known as Aqaba because it was the first agreement that they were made between the Prophet Muhammad and the people of Medina. Meaning, it was only for those people who have come for the intention of agreeing with the Prophet Muhammad of what they wanted to, but not that they have come for their other for the other means. And then we can say that after they have talked with the Prophet Muhammad and made this agreement, they stood up and holding the Prophet Muhammad. And after standing up, they say that the Prophet sent Musa bin Umayyah to go to Yathrib, and I've said earlier that Yathrib was the other name of Medina. Before the coming of the Prophet Muhammad to Medina, it was known as Yathrib. So the Prophet sent Musa bin Umayyah to go to Yathrib to teach them Islam. So when these people were going back to Medina, after promising with the Prophet Muhammad to follow the religion of Islam, but Prophet Muhammad did not let them go. He sent with them Musa bin Umayyah to go and teach them on how the Islam is. Because remember, these people, they only came to understand, to be told about Islam, how it is, but they have not learned much about Islam. So the Prophet finds that it is more better for him to take somebody who can be able to continue teaching them on the religion of Islam. So Musa bin Umayyah, in a question, becomes the first teacher. So Musa bin Umayyah became the first teacher, and when you are given a question, which of the following was the first teacher who was sent by the Prophet Muhammad in Medina, you only say was Musa bin Umayyah. He was the first teacher who was sent by the Prophet Muhammad with the first group that they accepted the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad at Aqaba. So after he went there, he went to teach them on how the Islam is. It is very important when you are Muslim and when you become a Muslim, you have to learn about on how Islam is. Don't just do it things. You have to learn on how Islam is. So I find that it is more wise for these people to have Musa bin Umayyah to go and give them knowledge. And that is very something encouraging. Now from there, in your book, in page 7 there, in page 7, after you have watched this, our lesson here in your videos, then you are going to open your IRE New Beginning book, class 5, page 7 in your book. In this page 7 in your book, you are going to fill for me these questions. For example, question number 1, it says, in the 12th year of the prophethood, the prophet met that people at Aqaba. This exercise, we are discussing the first lesson and then the second lesson. So after watching the videos of the first lesson and the second lesson, then you are going to conclude this by doing an exercise. And then you make sure that you have written the notes after watching, and then you do the exercise here in page 7, class 5 book, IRE New Beginning. So for that much, I hope that you are going to follow up our lesson very keenly and make sure all what have been discussed you have understood, and after that you copy the notes and do the questions and you send to me through Google Classroom. Thank you so much. May God bless you.